Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports preview of Liverpool versus Everton. The Merseyside Derby taking place in the Premier League this weekend on Sunday. And what is a derby kind of weekend, really? It's taking place all over Europe once more. You've got Besiktas versus Galatasaray. You've got Arsenal taking on Tottenham. And we've got this game as well, the Merseyside Derby between Liverpool and... well, of course you would say that as a Liverpool fan. But anyway, let's take a look at the teams themselves. Of course, Liverpool on fine form, still undefeated in the Premier League. Good 3-0 victory against Watford at the weekend. Salah and Bobby Firmino really coming into this game and performing well, especially with Mo Salah really stepping up now into the plate after a slow start to the season once more. How important is it for Salah to really get on the goal scoring sheet this season for Liverpool and their title campaign?
Well, obviously, there's a lot made of Mo Salah's start to the season. People a couple of weeks ago were saying how slow it was, but now he scored 6 in 7.
Yeah.
So obviously, he's starting to find that form. Last year, he had quite a slow start. He did get a couple of goals, obviously, against Watford on the opening day and in Arsenal, but then he had that little bit of a dry spell where he didn't really score much, and then all of a sudden it just kicked into gear again for him around end of October, early November, and obviously we all know what happened. He finished the season with 44 goals in all competitions, and it was fantastic. Whether he matches those numbers this year is another thing. I think he will get in the 20s. Whether he'll get past the 30 barrier, we'll have to see. But I think obviously it's key to have a player of Mo Salah's quality, what he achieved last season for Liverpool, to be scoring goals again. And obviously, if we want to be competing for this title, we can't just rely on one player. And that was a big problem last year. I know we relied on the front three, but when Mane and Firmino weren't firing, we were relying heavily on Salah. And then obviously we know what happened in Kiev, his injury, and it seemed to just fall apart on that day. But I think with Liverpool this season, we seem to be spreading the goals a lot more, which is good. But obviously we're not scoring as many in the games. Whether that will even itself out, whether that'll something happen after Christmas, do something, kick into gear, I don't know. We'll hopefully, but I think to not be out the second gear and still be 2 points behind City, who are firing on all cylinders, it's very good for Liverpool, and I think having Mo Salah scoring the goals is key for our title challenge.
It certainly is, and if he can keep us on scoring goals, then Liverpool will definitely be up there at the end of the season. And another reason why they'll be up there at the end of the season is because of the defence. It's been absolutely solid for them so far this season. Only 5 goals scored, I think, scored against them in the league. So really strong performances from them. But it took a bit of a niggle at the weekend against Watford because Joe Gomez was unfortunately unable to participate in that game. If he was to miss this game as well, how big of a miss would he be for Liverpool in their defence?
Well, it's quite a big miss with how he's played this season. Obviously, he's only young himself, Joe, and he's broken to the England squad. But I think with the way that Dejan Lovren played at the weekend, he played actually quite well. He's a player, every time he plays and pulls on that red shirt, he's scrutinised heavily, and I suppose it doesn't help when you make your comments about being the best defender in the world. When I read that,
and then
I was like,
you get run over in the World Cup final in front of a global audience, and people are wondering, where's these best comments coming from? You know, must have taken a couple of blows to the head on the way to Moscow on that day. Too many vodka shots or something. I don't know.
Maybe Ramos had seen him. I don't know. But
he's gone home by then. They got knocked out by Russia, didn't they?
But I think he's a key player, Joe Gomez. But I think if Dejan Lovren can be on form, obviously it's fantastic. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold did well at the weekend in the right back position because obviously Gomez has played both right back and centre back this season. I think Lovren's done okay when he's come in, and if he can perform well like he did last season with that partnership with Virgil van Dijk, then he shouldn't be too much of a problem. And obviously Trent performed well at the weekend. If he can perform like he did against Watford, and you're getting up and down that side and getting back to make the challenges, I think it'd be fantastic, and it would be fantastic if he scored another free kick as well.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would be. He's certainly a set piece master in that sense, and but hopefully Liverpool were able to work on what they did last season, especially the better part of last season when it was Lovren and Virgil van Dijk in the back, and Joe Gomez on the side. And if Joe Gomez was to miss this Merseyside derby, hopefully it won't be too big of a miss for Liverpool in that sense. Let's move on to Everton, and of course they're sitting in 6th at the moment, 1-0 victory against Cardiff at the weekend. Sigurdsson getting the goal in that game, but also Richarlison's been on the goal scoring sheet so far this season as well. 6 goals for both of those players. Really strong performances by both of those Evertonians, and one that Liverpool will have to look to handle. But Sigurdsson and Richarlison are going to be tough tests for this Liverpool defence, and how good have they been this season for Everton, especially Richarlison?
Well, you have a look across the park down that old cow shed that's Woodison, and you look at those two players, and those are the two standout players that perform week in, week out for Everton. Obviously, Richarlison, when he joined for £50 million, and obviously Sigurdsson joined for a similar fee last season. I think it was 45. The fees were looked at, and people said they've got to perform here. I didn't think Sigurdsson did too bad last season. Some people scrutinised it, but I think considering the way that Everton were playing last season, they didn't perform well at all, the whole side. I think he was one of the standout players for the club last season, and he's continuing that form this year with the goals and assists. And I think Richarlison, since he's come in, he's been fantastic. He's been a breath of fresh air. He's been that forward that they've been looking for. They've had Cenk Tosun, but he's not really done much since he's come in. He's scored the odd goal every now and again, but he's not scored with the consistency that they've needed of Richarlison. Everton have missed that out-and-out striker for years. When they signed Richarlison, I looked at it and thought, well, he didn't really do much for Watford at the end of last season, but since he's come in, he's performed really, really well for him, and I think he's going to be a worry for Liverpool with the trouble. He's moving off the ball as well as on it, and I think, to be honest, they've done well signing him, to be honest. It doesn't matter about the price tag. If you think about it, years ago, it probably would have been a £30 million price tag, so it doesn't really, you isolate the fee and look away from the fee, they've got a good player on their hands.
Yeah, certainly have, and a lot of people were scrutinising the fee, 50 million for Richarlison, and now he's got 6 goals after 13 games in the league. Not a bad rate of 1 goal per 2 games at all for him. And so also Sigurdsson's on the goal scoring sheet as well with 6 goals too. Everton actually, after a slow start to this season, haven't lost now in the last. I've only picked up 1 loss in the last 7 games for them. So they're coming into this. In this tie on decent form. And in the last meeting between these two sides, it was 0-0 back in April. Last time actually a team won this game was back in April 2017. Who won that game?
Oh, you know who won that game.
You know who won that game? What was the scoreline? See how dealt your knowledge is.
2017?
Yeah, April.
Liverpool?
Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah, well done. Yeah. Well done.
And it was Mane, Coutinho, Origi for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And Pennington for Everton, I think.
I'm not too sure about the Pennington one. I forgot about the Everton's goal scorers.
But Liverpool did win in the FA Cup this year.
Yeah.
Van Dijk on debut.
Yeah, but no one counts knockout games. Otherwise, we're going to talk about West Bromwich Albion knocking out Liverpool. But but let's move on from that and not go too delve into that because you opened that door. I decided not to walk through it. What are your own scoreline predictions for this game?
Well, I think there's going to be more misery for Everton not winning a Merseyside Derby at Anfield since 1999, and that was against a 9-man Liverpool that day with Westerveld and our Stevie being sent off. So I think Liverpool are going to win this game, another 3-1 victory. It'd be good to see Salah on the score sheet again.
Yeah,
and Everton. Yeah, just remember 1995 for the trophy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-1 victory as well for Liverpool in this game too. So, what are your own predictions for the game itself? Let us know in the comment section below this video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe for more Let's Talk Sport content. See you all very soon.